The Galactic Council sat around a long, glowing table on the capital planet Valtor. Thousands of stars sparkled above through the dome ceiling. Leaders from many alien empires were present, tall ones with glowing skin, short ones with sharp eyes, and some who didn't speak with mouths at all. They were talking about new species. A report came in. One word made many of them laugh. Earth. Some chuckled, some smirked. One blue-skinned ambassador waved a hand. They are young, weak, a small world with small minds. Their ships, child's, toys. They only joined the galactic net 20 years ago, said another. They still use metal in their machines. How primitive. And they call that Little Rock a planet, joked a council general. My people have moons larger than Earth. Laughter echoed across the room. But someone was watching, hidden deep in a silent corner of the chamber. A small listening device recorded every word. It was the size of a grain of sand. It had been placed by a human diplomat months ago. Earth had been listening to every insult, every joke, every word of doubt. On Earth, in a quiet underground base beneath Antarctica, the signal was heard. A group of humans stood around a table, listening. No one smiled. No one got angry. They simply nodded. Captain Reyna stood among them. She was young, calm, and sharp. Her eyes were focused like a laser. Let them laugh, she said. We are not here to impress them. We're here to finish the build. She stepped out into a massive open chamber. Above her, something huge was being constructed. Machines crawled along its surface. Engineers flew in suits across its dark metal skin. The structure was bigger than anything Earth had ever made. Bigger than any alien ship known. It was called Project Eclipse. Back in orbit, around the far side of the moon, large solar shades were hiding something. It could not be seen from space. Satellites near it stopped working. Signals jammed. Some said it was just space dust. But others had seen strange shadows that did not belong. Had spent decades building, not in the spotlight, not with words, but with work, patience, and quiet. No media reports, no public parades, only silence. Alien spies tried to get close. Most never returned. The ones who did spoke of strange machines and dark towers that swallowed light. One trader from a neutral planet passed close to Earth's solar system. His ship picked up a strange signal. A shadow moved across his sensors. Something massive. He turned around and never went back. In the council, leaders kept joking. Maybe they're building a space hotel, one said. Perhaps a museum. For their old rockets, said another. But deep inside their minds, some of them were not so sure anymore. One admiral from the J-Tal Empire looked over a recent scan. Something was not right. A gravity signal far beyond normal. A heat signature that didn't match any known class. He tried to warn others. They ignored him. On Earth, Captain Reyna watched the final pieces come together. She stood inside the command bridge of the ship. It was still dark, not yet powered. Beside her, a tall screen lit up with words. Primary systems, ready. Power core online. Command link, active. She placed her hand on the glowing circle. The ship spoke. Welcome, Captain. Flagship Eclipse 1 is awake. Reyna did not smile. Her voice was steady. Begin silent mode. No signals, no lights. Just move into position. Outside the dome, engines turned on, but no sound came. The ship began to move slowly, carefully. It was heading to the edge of the moon, hiding in its shadow. On Valtor, the Galactic Council continued their meeting. We will hold the next peace summit near the Orion Gate, someone said. And Earth? A young alien asked. Let them attend. Give them a chair. Let them feel important, said the chairman, sipping his glowing drink. Back in deep space, a shadow larger than most moons moved slowly. Quietly. The stars behind it vanished as it passed. Earth had finished laughing a long time ago. Now, it was their turn to listen, and the galaxy would never be the same again. Asterisk. A strange silence had settled over Earth's orbit. From the surface, nothing looked different. The sky was calm. Satellites moved in their usual paths. Space agencies sent out normal updates. But beyond what the public could see, something was happening, something huge, and no one outside Earth truly knew what it was. On the far side of the moon, in a space untouched by light, large black panels floated silently. They were positioned in perfect formation, acting like a cloak. Behind them, a structure unlike anything the galaxy had seen was being completed. It did not blink. It did not shine. It absorbed light instead of reflecting it. It was as if space itself had grown a shape. Inside the control center of Lunar Base 9, engineers and scientists moved quietly. Between terminals, they spoke in short sentences, shared glances, and checked screens filled with complex readings. No alarms, no warning lights, only steady numbers and rising energy levels. Captain Reyna stood in the center of the room, arms behind her back. Her face showed no emotion, but her eyes scanned everything. She had been waiting for this moment for years. Every part of her training, every mission, every decision had led to this day. She turned to a young officer. Status report. All systems green, he said. Eclipse 1 is ready to break cover. Reyna nodded once. Final checks, no leaks, no thermal trace. She's completely invisible. A quiet hum filled the room, deep in space. Beyond the view of any known sensor, The Earth flagship Eclipse 1 was alive. It was bigger than anything in Earth's history, longer than Earth's tallest mountains. Its surface was smooth, dark, built with materials not even named yet. Some parts were grown, not built. Others were shaped by forces still being studied. Its heart, Gravcore, was a brand new invention, something Earth had kept hidden from the galaxy. It allowed a ship of impossible size to move without delay. It bent space gently, slipping through it like a quiet ripple on a pond. But size and movement weren't the most surprising things. What shocked the few who saw early blueprints was the silence. The ship had no engines as known by other species. It had no sound, no trail, no glow. It was like a shadow that chose to move. Meanwhile, far across the galaxy, in the diplomatic halls of the Galactic Council, Earth's name came up again. Not many took it seriously. The Council had seen powerful ships. The Rallic sent 10 destroyers to circle the sun. The Zulkan once moved a station across galaxies. What could Earth do that hadn't already been done? Only one report caught some attention. A passing trader claimed he had seen a shadow that didn't belong. He said his ship's sensors glitched near Earth. His autopilot spun in circles. He felt pressure through the hull. When he escaped, half of his navigation systems were burned out. The Council reviewed the report, then laughed. More space myths, they said. Earth must have shown him a broken satellite. But not all were laughing. A few silent observers from other empires began to ask questions. Some tried to scan Earth's moon, but scans returned blank. Some tried to send probes. None returned. Others sent cloaked drones. They disappeared. Back on Earth, Reyna was meeting with her command team in a circular chamber aboard Eclipse 1. They stood around a holographic table showing a star map. A glowing circle pulsed near the center Veltor, the capital planet of the Council. She tapped the location. This is where they spoke about us, she said. This is where they judged us without knowing us. Her science officer looked uneasy. Do we show them? Reyna paused. No, not yet. Let them wonder. The longer they guess, the more powerful. The truth becomes. Outside the ship, giant doors opened silently in space. Panels moved, surfaces shifted, solar arms folded away, lights remained off, the ship stayed invisible. But it was no longer hiding, it was watching. Deep in the ship's AI core, a voice-activated .com, emotionless, galactic monitoring engaged, listening channels open, visual, scan complete. Reyna stood alone in the observation deck. Through the glass, the stars stretched endlessly, but her eyes focused on one distant glow, Council's domain. They thought they understood scale. She whispered behind her. Eclipse 1 stretched beyond sight, asleep but fully ready. The galaxy still believed Earth was quiet, young, and small. They were not ready for what was about to move from the shadows. Asterisk far across the stars. On the edge of a quiet system, the night sky dimmed. It wasn't a solar eclipse. It wasn't a drifting moon. It was something else, something that moved with perfect control, but without noise or trace. The stars behind it simply vanished. A small mining outpost floated on a lonely asteroid nearby. Its systems flickered. Lights blinked. A low hum passed through its walls. One engineer stepped outside in his suit, looking toward the dark. What he saw made him stop breathing for a moment. There was nothing, just emptiness. But that emptiness had a shape, and it was moving. The object did not glow. It did not blink. But it blocked everything behind it. The stars, the cosmic gas clouds, even the distant light of the sector's twin suns. It covered them all. As if space itself had turned into a wall. The man tried to speak, but his mic only cracked. His ship's sensors showed no data, no speed, no heat, only a blank. A cold silence that felt alive. Eclipse 1 had moved. Back in Earth's command center, Captain Reyna stood still as new data filled the room. Charts, maps, ship scans, and AI reports flooded the giant screen. Officers around her worked silently. This was the moment they had prepared for. The flagship was no longer in test orbit. It had silently left its hidden path near the moon. It was now on course toward open space. No one had seen it leave. No sensors had tracked it. Even Earth's own satellites hadn't noticed. The ship had moved like a shadow passing between heartbeats, but the humans knew. And now, they waited. Captain Reyna watched a live feed from inside the flagship. She saw the ship's long interior passageways glowing with soft blue light. She saw command crews walking carefully, speaking quietly. Every part of the vessel was active, but not rushed. Calm measured. The command bridge of Eclipse 1 looked nothing like alien bridges. It wasn't covered in metal and blinking lights. It looked like a cathedral of glass and silence. High walls shimmered with smart glass. A round window at the front showed the stars, untouched by any frame. Reyna stepped onto the bridge. Her voice was soft. Status. Her first officer, Lieutenant Mara, turned to her. All systems ready. Engine silent. We've reached marker 7. Good, Reyna replied. Open full exterior scan. The ship responded with no sound. Just action. The outer shell, dark and smooth, adjusted slightly. Small ports opened. Invisible waves spread across space like quiet ripples in water. Every nearby signal was captured. Every movement noted. And then the image on the screen changed. A galaxy-wide map appeared. Dots glowed across it. Other ships. stations, satellites? Most were small. One cluster pulsed brighter than the rest. The capital planet. Valtorena walked slowly toward the screen. That's where they laughed. Mara nodded. And now, we show them silence, Reyna said. We show them what Earth really is on Valtaire. The Galactic Council was preparing for the upcoming Unity Gathering. It was the largest political event of the cycle, held once every 1,000 rotations. Leaders from every system were expected to attend. The council hall was being decorated with banners from across the stars. Earth had been invited. Of course, a polite gesture. A small seat had been reserved near the back. One council member, a tall figure with green scales, was reading a security report when he paused. Strange, he muttered. Another probe vanished near the Terran system. His assistant shrugged. Maybe a fault. Earth still uses old tech. The council member frowned. Or maybe they don't. He turned toward a screen showing star movements. A shadow flickered on the far side, but when he zoomed in, it disappeared. He leaned back, uncertain. Back aboard Eclipse 1. A quiet alert appeared on the main console. Long-range scan received. Origin Valtor. Reyna looked at the notification and said only one word. Let them see. The AI responded without delay. A portion of the ship's surface shimmered, revealing just a glimpse, just enough for the scan to catch something. Shape, a signature, a size too big to understand. The scan bounced back to Valtor. When the signal was received, the data made no sense. Their systems couldn't read the measurements. The numbers overflowed. The signal repeated. Object too large, unknown structure, power source unstable or beyond known range. Within moments, quiet panic began to spread in the council chambers. Not loud, not public, just quiet meetings behind closed doors. But Reyna wasn't watching them. She was watching the stars. We're not showing power, she whispered. We're showing presence. And far across space, the galaxy took its first breath of silence. Because something was moving and Earth was no longer quiet. Valtor was a planet that never slept. Twin suns warmed its sky, and silver towers reached into clouds that shimmered with color. It was the heart of the Galactic Council, the center of politics, diplomacy, and pride. Every known species had walked its marble halls. Every great ship had once landed on its docks. For 1,000 cycles, no world had outshined it. Until now, as the Council prepared for the Unity Gathering, streets were filled with music, lights, and proud processions. Banners from every empire waved in the wind. Even Earth's flag had been placed. Though many viewed it as a formality, they will send a small shuttle, one elder predicted, maybe with a gift, a simple display to look polite. They are still learning, another added. We must be patient. But that morning, something strange happened. It started as a sudden drop in light. Not full darkness, but a passing cloud, but without a cloud in sight. The air grew still, wind stopped. Birds paused in mid-flight. Shadows stretched across the capital in unnatural ways. At first, people blamed the weather. Then came the sound, not loud, not thunder, not even a hum. It was something deeper, like a slow vibration beneath the ground, like the heartbeat of something. Too large to see. All communications paused for exactly 7 seconds, and when they returned, every screen on Valtor flickered with a single image just for a moment. A shape so massive that only part of it could fit in view. Smooth, dark, curved like a planet, yet clearly not a world. No message followed. No voice, no signal, just a presence. Council guards ran to secure the upper towers. Their scanners were confused. Some showed no object at all. Others showed something larger than a city, but moving silently through the upper atmosphere. In orbit, defense satellites sent back images, shadows covering the moons. Not one, but both moons of Valtor were hidden from sunlight. And in that shadow, a single ship floated. It didn't approach like other ships. It didn't follow paths. It didn't broadcast identity or ask for permission. It didn't stop at the edge of allowed zones. It simply arrived. Eclipse 1 had reached Valtor. Captain Reyna stood calmly on the bridge, watching the glowing blue planet spin below. Her crew worked silently, monitoring readings from the Council's surface. There was no panic yet, only confusion. She tapped a command into her panel. A projection appeared. Valtor, S Capital, Council Square, and the ceremonial platform set up for the gathering. Show them we're here, she said softly. From the ship's underbelly, a series of mirror-like surfaces unfolded. They reflected light in strange patterns, sending down a message not in words, but in sight. A ring of light spread across the sky, not bright, but elegant. The colors shifted through shades of silver and blue, forming Earth's emblem, a circle, surrounded by 7 stars. It appeared for just 5 seconds before fading. Below, on the ground, silence followed. Then, slowly, people looked up. Some pointed, some froze. Even the oldest council members did not speak. This was no shuttle. Guessed. This was something else. And then it began. The wind returned, but stronger, as if the air had remembered how to breathe. From the horizon, a soft, low line appeared in the sky, stretching from one end to the other. The ship's shadow had moved. Across oceans, valleys, and continents, slowly, peacefully, but it could not be ignored. On the main landing platform, council guards waited nervously. Small alien ships had already arrived, sleek, decorative, colorful. But now, the sky was changing. No engines roared, no metal burned. The platform remained untouched. Yet from above, the flagship watched. Inside Eclipse 1, Reyna received a request. A direct message from the Council: identify yourself. She replied with only coordinates. At that moment, a beam of soft light descended from the ship, not a weapon, not heat, but a perfect column of shimmering particles. And from it, a platform lowered. No doors opened. No army stepped out. Only one figure appeared. Rayna. She walked with calm steps. Dressed in a simple black uniform with Earth's symbol on her chest. No weapons. No guard. She stepped onto the council stage, where every leader had already arrived. Waiting, no one spoke first. Then Reyna raised her eyes. We came in peace, she said, clearly and gently. And you laughed. Gasps echoed through the square. But Earth doesn't answer with anger, she continued. We listen. We work, we prepare. And now we are here not to impress, not to threaten, but to remind. To remind you that size is not shown through talk. It is revealed in silence. Above her, the flagship remained still. No movement, no noise. But its shadow touched every corner of Val single quotes Tor, and for the first time in 1,000 years, the galaxy watched Earth, not as a newcomer, but as something more. Something they had never expected. Asterisk. The day after Eclipse 1 appeared in Valtor's skies, everything changed. The galaxy didn't wake up to news of conflict or power. It woke up to silence, curiosity, and a quiet sense of realization. Earth had not made a sound, but its silence had echoed louder than any fleet, louder than any speech. Council channels buzzed with activity. Messages flowed faster than light. Leaders from systems near and far held emergency meetings. Analysts, strategists, and scientists all stared at the same unanswered question. How did Earth build something like that? They had called Earth small. They had mocked it for being late to the galactic community. Now no one dared speak that way. In the city below the flagship's shadow, the Unity gathering continued, but differently. Where once Earth's seat sat at the far end of the hall, it had now been moved to the front. Not because Earth demanded it. Earth had said nothing. The Council had moved it on their own. Something in them had shifted. Captain Reyna, calm and quiet as ever, walked the halls of the gathering, as if she had always belonged. And now, it truly felt like she did. Aliens who once ignored Earth's name now leaned in to speak with her. Some offered trade. Others offered alliances. Some simply wanted to understand. Reyna answered with the same tone she used in every meeting: steady, respectful, and never proud. Earth believes in cooperation, but never again will we be treated as less. There was no need to raise her voice. Everyone listened. Back aboard Eclipse 1, the crew remained alert but at ease. No weapons had been activated. No systems had been raised to high alert. They hadn't come to show strength through force. The ship's presence alone had been enough. Yet even now, most of its systems remained unseen. What the galaxy had witnessed was only the surface. Behind closed doors, leaders of other empires held long discussions. If Earth can build this, whispered a scientist from the Teltari species, then, what else are they hiding? They haven't even shown their full technology, said a general. And they never threatened us, added a third. That's what makes it more unsettling. Out of curiosity, and maybe fear, many governments began to reach out. Invitations were sent to Earth, offers to visit their worlds, to share research, to build mutual understanding. Earth accepted none. Not out of pride, but because they were not seeking approval. They had come only to attend the gathering as invited. Nothing more. Their ship did not land. It simply hovered. Their crew did not march. They simply observed. And Reyna, she simply listened. A few umpires took a different approach. They quietly offered advanced weapons to Earth in exchange for alliances. One even offered rare energy crystals as a gift. Reyna turned down every gift gently. We don't seek power. We seek peace. But never again at the price of being overlooked. The message was clear. Meanwhile, news of the flagship spread far and wide. Civilizations and distant systems replayed the transmission of its shadow crossing over Valtair. Artists painted it. Scholars began studying Earth's history again. Children in alien schools pointed at Earth's spot on the galactic map with wonder. A single event had changed everything. Even the Council's oldest member, Grand Speaker Kether, made a rare public statement. For centuries, we believed size was a measure of voice, that the loudest deserved the most attention. Earth showed us that true size does not need volume. It only needs presence. He paused, and presence they now have. As the gathering came to an end, Reyna prepared to leave. She had spoken few words during her time, but the ones she did say had already circled the stars. Standing once more on the stage before departure, she looked across the sea of leaders, reporters, and curious minds. The same faces that once looked at Earth with doubt now looked with quiet respect. I thank you for hearing us, she said. Earth came not to impress, but to connect. Our path is long, but we are no longer behind. Then she turned, walked back to the beam of soft light, and rose silently toward the sky. Above her, Eclipse 1 waited still, peaceful, and quiet as ever. As the flagship began to ascend, the sky over Valtor cleared. The stars returned. The suns shone again, but no one looked at them the same way anymore, because the galaxy now knew Earth was listening, Earth was building, and Earth had arrived. Asterisk, the stars over Valtor sparkled once again. The Unity gathering had ended, and the delegates were returning to their home worlds. The ceremonial flags were taken down, music stopped, the lights dimmed, but something in the galaxy had shifted permanently. The flagship Eclipse 1 was gone, vanished into the silence of space as mysteriously as it had arrived. No warp trails, no visible path, no final words, just a peaceful departure that left more questions than answers. And in those quiet days that followed, the galaxy began to reflect. What had Earth truly become? It was no longer about the size of their ship. It was not even about their technology. It was something else, something deeper. Earth had changed the way the stars thought about power. They had shown that strength didn't have to shout. It could simply be. On thousands of worlds, news channels replayed the same footage. The slow movement of Eclipse 1's shadow across Valtor. Reyna's calm voice speaking in the council. The silent beam of light that carried her down. Then, back up. The galaxy was still talking. But Earth was not. In fact, Earth had gone quiet again. No new messages. No broadcasts. Their diplomats returned home. Their communication windows closed. It wasn't secrecy. It was intention. Earth had made its presence known. Now, it was up to the others to understand what that meant. On the Council's central database, something rare happened. Earth's status was changed. The title under its name read, Founding Influence Pangaea, title given only to empires that shaped the direction of the galaxy. That had only happened twice before in galactic history, and Earth was the third. But Earth didn't celebrate. In a quiet valley near the Atlantic coast, Reyna stood on a hillside, looking up at the sky. She had returned not to a medal ceremony or a press conference, but to her home. She wore no uniform now, only simple clothing. Around her, children played. People lived their lives like they always had. And yet, everyone knew. The world had watched her stand before the council. They had seen the ship. They had seen the change. Reyna had always believed Earth's strength was not in its ships, but in its spirit. In the minds that imagined more. In the hands that built without needing praise. In the voices that stayed calm when others shouted. Back in orbit, Eclipse 1 did not rest. It traveled silently through uncharted space. Its mission had shifted. It was now a symbol not just of power, but of responsibility. The AI core recorded cosmic patterns, scanned ancient ruins on far-off moons, and listened to signals that no one else noticed. The flagship was not looking for enemies. It was looking for understanding. And slowly, a new idea began to grow across the stars. Other young species, those often ignored or mocked, began to rise with confidence. If Earth could reach this level, maybe they could too. The galaxy wasn't built only by the old empires anymore. It was evolving. New alliances formed. Not out of fear, but inspiration. Earth began receiving messages from unexpected places. A distant planet of water dwellers sent a note. We once hid our science from the stars. Your silence gave us courage to share it. A desert world sent a symbol, a small star rising above a dark hill. We see ourselves in your shadow. One by one, others began to step forward. Eclipse 1 continued its journey. It passed by sleeping stars, entered forgotten systems, and left behind satellites that shared Earth's peaceful knowledge. It never announced its arrival. It simply arrived, learned, and left something better than it found. Captain Reyna was no longer on board, but her message remained in the ship's archive, recorded by the AI, whispered to every world it passed. We do not need to be loud to be heard. We do not need to be feared to be respected. We only need to be true to who we are. Back on Valtor, in a council chamber now quieter than ever, one elder placed a sculpture at the center of the main hall. It was not large or golden. It was a simple model of a dark ship and a small glowing blue planet beside it. Below the sculpture was a message in many languages. They laughed once. Now, they listen. And high above, somewhere beyond the edge of mapped space, a silent shape moved gently through the stars, its shadow, no longer a warning, but a quiet reminder. Earth had not come to lead with force, but the stars had followed anyway.